physiology.
We got a problem here.
We have the opportunity to give these animals a second chance.
But he's a little one.
He's a very small one.
Nice, strong heartbeat.
He's very handsome.
With wildlife, humans are a big part of the problem, and I just want to try to be part of the solution.
Turn it up a lot more.
You not only need to read the mind of your coworkers, you need to read the mind of your patient.
About 5 minutes ago before we hit 3 hours.
To save a wild animal's life and get it back into the wild, that's what it's all about.
At the Wildlife Center of Virginia, special emergencies require special treatment.
Hey!
Oh, aren't you cute?
Remember that?
When this young raccoon arrived with a crippling injury, what it needed most was an orthopedic surgeon.
Basically, the end of his upper leg bone was knocked off, which it's a puppy injury, and frankly it's a surgery I've never done in a puppy, so it seemed like a good idea to get my favorite puppy doctor involved.
But I'm not sure.
Let me find the first film, Bob.
We're going to have a problem with that broken too.
With years of experience in bone reconstruction, Dr. Bob examines x-rays of the injury and with Dr. Ned immediately schedules surgery.
Well, let's give it a try.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
The x-rays revealed a double fracture, and after the raccoon is anesthetized, Dr. Bob further assesses the injury.
Does it feel like a dog?
Yeah, the alignment's pretty much the same. Hit by car.
Kicked.
Kicked. I think that's just the end of the femur sitting right there.
Looks like it's supposed to be in the
Here's the
appropriate place.
tibial crest right here.
Surgically exploring the length of the broken bone, Dr. Bob tries to locate the double fracture.
Trochlear ridge right there. Is that our fracture? The lower portion. There's the other. See it?
I see the medial one.
There's where the split is. Completely split out here. Where was that other chip? Remember that we saw radiographically? Should have been right up at the top. Let's look at the top of this patella.
Finally,
Make sure we don't
after
have
almost
that
an
much
hour,
split, too.
the missing piece of the bone, the last part of the puzzle, comes into view.
There's where it is. That's that chip. Look at that.
Oh.
Having found all of the pieces, Dr. Bob now must reconstitute the broken bone, for which he has brought his tool chest of medical hardware.
I'm looking for the screw pack.
It's that thing right there.
Oh,
It has
plate
plates
set?
and screws and
Oh, okay.
all kinds of goodies.
Capillary fill.
No. Oh, CRT.
Do you have any problem?
Hypervolemic a little bit, I think.
I don't think I could get a catheter in her. That would be a little too hard.
With surgery taking longer, Dr. Tracy fears that the patient is getting weaker and prepares to administer an intravenous stimulant.
I thought about placing one before, but we kind of really zoomed ahead. I knew Dr. Bob would have us in and out of this, and no time at all. We wouldn't really need
It's
fluids.
supposed to be an hour, you're right.
The best laid plans.
Right. Do you want to stop and get something, Trace?
Well, she doesn't look all that bad. I think what I may do is give her some sub-Qs
Sure.
and then go from there.
Okay. I'm just too doggone left-handed, Ned. I'm going to have to
We'll
come over to that side. And what I want to try to do is run this drill right from here over to here.
Now Dr. Bob must drill holes in the patient's bone to screw it together.
We didn't get, I have a measuring tool for the screws, but
Oh.
they didn't include that in the pack when they sent it over. I got another way of doing this. Okay. All right, that should do it. Let's start with this one, okay? I think my screw's going to be a little long, but that's okay. I'll come back and replace it with another if I have to.
Are y'all going to be done before I get this catheter in?
Dr. Tracy rushes to place the catheter that could be critically important if the operation goes on much longer.
Got these little wings
And
on.
I think we have some
Tape in
tenuous
better.
attachment here, and I think if we try to push it over here, you're going to break it off.
By
completely.
inserting the metal rod inside the fractured bone, Dr. Bob will be able to stabilize it.
Okay, what I'm going to do with my rush pin is I'm going to go with small ones.
I'm sorry, little raccoon. I didn't mean to slice your skin like that.
Okay, break time. I want to see this.
Let's,
I want to see this screw head.
Yeah, but it should be going wide open.
See what's going on this.
Must have come out when I taped it.
There's a good one.
Yeah,
Scissors.
it came out. I think it'll be okay.
While the repair of the raccoon is in progress, in another part of the center, another emergency must be addressed, as rehabilitator Gwen Johnston and her husband arrive to take on the long-term care of 3 baby fox squirrels.
Are you sure these are fox squirrels?
Yep, definitely show that they're fox squirrels. We'll take them out and you can take a look at them.
Oh, wow.
Aren't they cute?
Aren't they dark?
See how their skin is totally black, got that really kind of red coming on their tail and a little bit on their head here.
Oh, they're just beautiful.
You've got most of your guys are doing really well except for this guy.
Oh, baby.
One of the 3 is critically injured and must receive daily antibiotics.
So you're gonna need to continue with that for the next 4.5 days.
Okay.
Let's have to keep a close eye on him.
Oh, buddy. They're going home with me today because somebody cut their tree down.
I received a call from some tree trimmers that had trimmed a tree and they fell out of the limb when it landed, and they brought them by my house one, I believe it was a Saturday morning, and I called the Wildlife Center and they agreed to take them, and after feeding them a few times, I took them over the next morning.
In a case like this one concerning a great fall, undetected internal injuries are a potential danger.
The only thing I'm nervous about is the one that's ill. He has pneumonia, so he's going to take some special treatment, and he probably has about a 50-50 chance of survival. I'll keep him extra warm and hope for the best.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I'm really excited.
We're excited too. Have fun.
I feel a certain responsibility, ethical commitment to see that they get back where they belong or get to a place where they can thrive. They belong here.
As Gwen and Michael bring the fox squirrels home for rehabilitation, in the OR, Dr. Bob calls for his tool chest for surgery on the raccoon.
Vice grips, pliers, nippers,
All in one?
all in one. The right tool for the right job. Right. They're sterile. The double rush pins, of course, are all set and ready to go, but when you have to jury rig your own. Okay, all right, Ned. This is the one I care about, so if you'll hold on to that.
You cut and I'll hold.
See if that's gonna be what I want. I want it tighter. Okay?
Yep.
Got it?
Got it.
One done.
So you're just making your own rush pin here.
As the minutes tick by, Dr. Bob inserts the homemade rush pin through holes already drilled in the
I like the
bone.
multiple holes to choose from technique in,
Yeah.
in your ephemeral metaphysis.
And that may not even be enough. We'll find out pretty quick. I don't want to force it. I'm going to use a smaller pin.
At first, the doctors have difficulty lining up the holes in the lower leg bone with the holes in the upper
See if I
leg.
can see it on the back side.
That's not it.
Yeah, as
No,
long
it's
as it's
not.
dripping.
That's where the. That's
We'll
where the
take it, we're
screw's
no
going.
big rush, so.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh, no wonder it wasn't working.
Yeah.
What's the other hole, just from the clamp?
From the screw.
Yeah,
This
top
is
screw.
the screw tip coming out.
Looks like a walrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing's coming
Good, Tracy. I know it looks kind of bizarre, but
It looks very groovy to me.
let's take a look here. Just a second. I want to see this. Okay, there it is, right there.
That should fit in there pretty nicely.
Do you just blindly try to find the hole that you made?
I guess that's a good description. Yeah.
Yeah, but the cortex looks to be intact.
You know what we're going to do, Trace?
Yeah.
I'm going to put these things together, and then if we could get a quick radiograph of this, that'd
Sure.
be great.
It's set up.
Uh-huh,
Let's just do it.
yeah.
And I'm going to put a little K-wire. Let's get it in its best position, huh? Well, the proof will be in the pudding. I just hope that it's all going to be okay here. Make I gotta get it a pretty good angle. I'm just, again, I'm too left-handed.
I'll try to stay out of your way. Left-handed surgeon. What do you know?
Terrible.
Yeah.
See that?
Could be why it's
Yeah.
there too, so.
Okay, that's tacked down there pretty nice. I'm not gonna worry about that. Let's get that thing as tight as I can and then I'll tap it down a little farther. Come on, let me just tap that. Okay, didn't work?
Yeah, it didn't do much.
Nope. It's frustrating. Got an idea. Take it out a little bit and drive it back in.
It looks pretty flush.
I really want to get it below the level because I'm getting greedy.
Dr. Bob hammers the metal pin into the bone's surface, like a carpenter driving a nail into wood.
Trace, what I'll do is I'll put just a couple of tack sutures in. We'll go snap it and then get them back on here and I'll start closing while you get that x-ray. Sounds great. Let's close this thing up.
You want 2 views?
I think it would be best.
Okay,
Unfortunately, it's going to
that's all right.
tell all my mistakes here.
Like we'd notice them.
I guarantee you, you will.
Before the surgery can be concluded, the raccoon must be x-rayed to see if the pins are in the right place after all.
Might be about the best we're gonna get.
Okay, I'm running.
Okay, everybody up?
An animal has been splinted for 5 days.
Okay, Wendy's putting the film through.
If these x-rays look right, everybody will be happy. I'll be thrilled. We just want to make sure that the pins are in the right place, that the bone is at least close to being in the right position so it can go ahead and heal and stable. And I guess as much as anything that we haven't done more harm than we've done good, and that's what we're after right now.
Within a few moments, the x-rays will provide the final verdict.
It feels good and looks good. We just have to see the proof of the pudding in the... Well, everything's in place and everything's lined up. We're going to close this thing the rest of the way.
Yeah.
As we're done here.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks good. I think we've got it.
It's beautiful.
The surgery was more difficult than I expected. That's what we want. That's exciting.
Nice piece of work, Dr.
But the end result was exactly what I'd hoped for. We ended up stabilizing the leg. I think this raccoon will use the leg well. We'll be able to go back out in the wild, be rehabilitated, and use that leg and for all of its life. And I feel really good about that.
Don't bite me, Hugh.
After attending to the surgical emergency on the raccoon, Dr. Ned travels hours away to the Patuxent Wildlife Research Center, where a conservation emergency is being addressed: the saving of several endangered species of crane. These gray sandhill cranes and white whooping cranes are part of Patuxent's breeding program, which is attempting to bring these birds back from extinction.
65.
Today, Patuxent's director, Dr. Olson, and our own Dr. Ned will give these rare, beautiful, and noisy birds their annual physical.
There's about 15 different species of cranes, and over time I've probably worked with maybe half of those species, but I've never had the opportunity to work with one of the rarest species of cranes in the world, and that would be the whooping crane. So it's an honor and a privilege, as well as a learning experience, to get a chance to do that.
Dr. Ned will have the privilege of meeting Patuxent's oldest whooping crane couple, Mr. and Mrs. Canis.
Canis stands for Canada, U.S. It was the first whooping crane brought into captivity at Patuxent. We're a bit concerned about Canis because he's getting up in years, and we're a bit concerned about him because he's got the missing wing on one side, and he's one of our best producing whooping cranes. He produces many young every year that we use in our release program.
All right.
Mr. Canis, who must be accustomed to these visits from doctors by now, patiently endures his yearly exam.
Looks like Canis has passed his health exam with only minor problems. They can go home. Looks like they're ready to go back and be with their chick again.
While the older Mr. and Mrs. Canis passed their yearly exam, it was a young whooping crane that was found with a problem. It appears to have swallowed a nail.
We radiographed 10 of our young of the year whooping cranes, our 5-6-month-old whooping cranes, and we've only found metal in 2 of them, and the one had those little pieces of wire which had passed. So this is the only, there's only 1 out of 10.
Probably times looked up probably the difference between the stone and some of these metal things.
Yeah, I think some of the cranes.
With the help of specialist Dr. Weiss, this problem will be addressed in surgery tomorrow.
Foreign bodies in there. The nail's very obvious, and the other pieces are not so obvious. There's one piece underneath there, and then the other pieces that you can see on this X-ray was a little bit dark.
4. We can fix that.
Okay, good.
Endoscopy is just a passing a tube, basically, down to the stomach or various other areas and looking, and taking biopsies and taking out foreign bodies. That's basically endoscopy.
The bird's name is Chucky, incidentally. Okay.
Are you ready?
Your equipment's all set up?
I'm
ready
all ready
to roll? Okay. I think, Brian, we're ready to go catch the bird. I'll go back and help you get it.
At Gwen Johnston's home in rural Virginia, 6 weeks have passed since she took on the care of the fox squirrel babies who were injured in a tree trimming. Sadly, only one of the 3 has survived.
One of them had pneumonia and died before I even left with the Wildlife Center with them. The other one died 24 hours after I got him home. He developed severe bruising and swelling over his shoulders and down one of his arms, and then developed respiratory problems. She probably survived the fall because she was on top of the pile.
At first, the baby squirrel required constant care.
Here we go. Basically, all I needed to provide for her in the beginning was warmth, quiet, and a every 3-hour feeding schedule. Yes, that's me. Well, she's 7 weeks old now, so we're looking at another 6, 7, 8 weeks before it's time to release her. This is a long-term caretaking here for this squirrel.
Now that the squirrel is getting older, Gwen can no longer provide for all her needs.
I was really sad that I lost both of her nestmates, because that means that she has to be raised alone. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for her to know how to be a fox squirrel because she has no mirror. I called the Wildlife Center if they heard of any fox squirrels in Virginia that were about her age to please let me know. But now that she is 7.5 weeks old, it's hard to introduce baby squirrels once they get past 6, 7 weeks old. Then they become too aggressive. So it looks like we're going to have a loner.
As the time for release approaches, Gwen looks for the right habitat.
The best I can do for her is to release her in an area where we know there are other fox squirrels just like her. We want to make sure she is well adapted and strong enough to survive. Being a female, she has a really good chance of being accepted into the natural population. Females usually go into heat, before they're even a year old, and she will be pursued, whereas if she was a male, she might be ousted. My hopes are that she will mate and produce babies of her own.
For Gwen, if this squirrel can be released, all the hours she spent in care and nurturing will have been worthwhile.
Hey, come here, dude.
2 weeks after his operation, our raccoon has fully mended and is now ready to leave the hospital.
Come on.
Okay.
That's fine. The incision looks great. He's licking it a little bit, but not enough to
He's not irritating.
annoy
you
it.
at all.
Oh, you're...
You are a bad animal. Yes, you are.
Is he gonna go somewhere? Yeah, I've already got a place for him, and we'll get him up to a raccoon rehab in Northern Virginia, and she can deal with him. It's good.
Thanks to the successful surgery, he'll soon be ready to resume his life in the wild. Three hours from the Wildlife Center, the whooping crane that swallowed a nail will undergo an exploratory procedure using this endoscope.
You ready?
Because this rare bird, a potential breeder, may help to replenish its vanishing species, Veterinarians here will go to any length to ensure its continued good health.
It is a human setup. Okay, we just use the smallest scopes for the animals. The high-end equipment is really made for the human side. By high-end, I mean that setup we use today is about $60,000 to $80,000. So it can be expensive.
How's he doing?
First, the bird must be placed under general anesthesia, which can be toxic to the patient and must be monitored very carefully.
I think
Now,
we're ready to roll.
Want this video endoscope? We're going to pass it down. It automatically goes into the animal.
With the bird safely asleep, the tube, with a tiny video camera at the head, is passed along the esophagus of the bird, transmitting images back to the surgeons.
And we'll just gently pass it through. See these down here?
Yeah, that's interesting.
These are lesions. I saw one in the actual... See this?
Yeah.
He's got some lesions, and plus here, he really has an esophagitis.
Dr. Weiss guides the camera and within moments gets a hold of the nail by
One piece.
manipulating a tiny forceps.
That looks like our nail.
Dr. Olson, if you grab that for me.
Yep, I've got it. Just gently bring it out.
Okay. Nail.
There it is. Great. I'm curious about the plastic, where he got the plastic from.
Okay.
We've got another piece of metal that's coming out up the esophagus right now. There we go.
The endoscope will also be used to remove the other foreign objects.
Okay, that's that one piece
that little piece of
So we have
like
two out of
wire.
4. We're going to flush it out.
We're going to just put some water down into his gizzard and flush
We're
it
going to
out.
move them around a little bit.
In order to locate them, which now seem to be hiding from the endoscope, the crane's belly must be jiggled slightly so they move into view.
Let's move them back and forth a little bit. Turn them all the way over.
Yeah.
Teeth.
Okay.
Just don't
You won't move.
let them move. Okay.
He's getting light. Can you get that? Okay.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay. Now, is that metallic or plastic?
Feels like plastic.
Paint chip?
Anything that would paint that color?
No. Okay,
Okay.
before you go back down, he's getting light.
I think when you roll them over, you change this and just work them up.
I've got him up to 5 now. I'm gonna increase the airflow on this too.
Okay, you ready?
Yep, let's go back down. Oh yeah, I see it right there. Wow.
Back down to 4 again.
He's back down to 4? Okay, we're gonna go down to 3 again.
I got it.
Oh, did you got it there?
That's it.
Good. I'm pulling it gently. Yeah, I'm just concerned about. Yeah, just a little piece of wire is what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back. Okay. There, now. But I can't see the other piece.
Oxygen 95, pulse 95.
I just don't see it.
Maybe he passed that other little piece. I think he's getting a little bit light.
Okay.
Most concerned about that
So
nail.
let's call a halt.
Okay, good. Well, we got all the stuff out, the important stuff that could penetrate his gizzard, the 2 wires and the nail. That other little piece was not important. Okay. I think the surgery went very well. The main thing we were concerned about was getting that large nail and those couple pieces of wire out, and we got them out, and it caused very little trauma to the animal. And the crane's walking around now, and tomorrow it's going to go back and join its cohort that's eventually going to be released in Florida.
Next day, the fully recovered crane is returned to its outdoor pen. Doctors will continue to monitor its health until it can breed and enhance the life of its species in the wild.
He's back down to 4? Okay.